Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room. I'm your host, Judy McDowell, and today my guest is Enrique Martinez, also known as Mago, a very creative artist who has been spending his time in South Beach, New York, and now back in the Hamptons in Sag Harbor. And so tell us about your travels and what did you do in South Beach?
Well, the story is, it kind of just happened. I'm very good friends with, actually my best friend, Rivka Brown, and she was very good friends with Phil Goldfarb, and he's very involved in the Fontainebleau. And I met them at the Dream Hotel. She's told me to jump into a cab and throw my artwork in there, and I headed towards them and met with them at the lobby. And 2 days later, I was moving to South Beach, and Art Basel was happening. It was just like tons of excitement behind the art world in South Florida at that time.
Huh. And how long did you stay in Florida?
I did about 2-3 years there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you moved back to New York, and you opened a studio. You had a big loft?
It was about 3,500 square feet. When I was done with my stint in Miami, I decided that what I really needed was space. Mm-hmm. So I made a list of 10 ladies and guys that I knew that had space or money to give me to get a space. And the first name on that list was Alex Mascaris, and they have an entire block in Hell's Kitchen. So I went and met him in his restaurant, HK, and I had put together this entire presentation to, ask him for space or money for a space. And before I even got to the conversation, he showed me the most spectacular space, and it was, like I mentioned, about 3,500 square feet brick and mortar, and it was just the most spectacular space. And I went in there with the idea that I was going to use it as my art studio.
And didn't it become kind of a scene? Didn't it become a hangout for all the
local did.
Stuff?
It was pretty wild, actually, how it all happened. Because I got in there and it was kind of, I believe it was Hell's Kitchen original marketplace. So it was kind of a really old space with a lot of energy in it. Yeah. And it had all of that architectural detail. And Nice. It was really a special space. And I kind of just propped up my artwork and thought I would start painting there and perhaps showing to my collectors and my clients, enthusiasts, and supporters, which moved really fast into a lot of the people that I worked with in the fashion industry would show up, and they started booking the space for photo shoots. Mm-hmm.
And is that because one of the things we spoke about is how art and fashion come together?
Yeah, for sure. There at the space, it was more than fashion. The studio attracted some really amazing photographers, friends of mine, and directors that I ended up working with to create really cool productions. And that turned into its own kind of vibe there. We were shooting MTV Weekend Jams. We were shooting major print work stuff. I was repping guys like Brian Thomas, Brian Taylor Johnson, who else? Carl Giant. So it was this kind of a creative space. So the artwork was used for the photo shoots. The artwork was used for the music videos. And it was a truly exciting time. And going back to the idea of fashion crossing with art, yes, I've been in that crossroad probably twice. I've done 2 bodies of work that are related to that idea. I think fashion is a great vehicle to get to the masses if that expression warrants that or commands that audience.
Do you draw a lot of inspiration from that, or where do you draw your inspiration from?
The first series that I mixed both of those ideas was met some guys from the Human Rights Campaign, and they were interested in diversifying their artist, and I was, I think, volunteering for their silent auctions. Came up with the idea.
Works like, did you volunteer your work? Or,
oh, I donated
volunteer to work
Well, I
them,
did. I worked with them on several points. One, yes, I donated my work. Second, I scouted and contacted other artists to donate their work. And third, I created a fashion-forward installation,
cool.
which were these tuxedo shirts that had the equality sign, which is their logo, and then the heart sign, and it was done in my style.
Which is
it was
kind of your logo.
Yes.
Because the last time this is very different from the last. You were here 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
A lot of hearts.
Yep.
Very different. Do you always put Margot into your paintings?
You know, I grew up in Queens, and I'm kind of an inner city guy, and I grew up a lot around graffiti.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's always been a huge influence for me because I was able to find
it's really
beauty.
been legitimized now too, eh?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very creative people. So then how did you transition back here to Sag Harbor?
That's an interesting story. And actually, that is kind of a crossroad of fashion meets art or wearable art. I started painting on high-end women's bags, like the Birkin and many more, that I've now learned the names. I didn't know what these bags were.
You didn't know it was a $15,000 handbag. Isn't that crazy?
It is pretty wild.
Oh, my God.
But it's also...
And they wait in line for them.
Yeah, they ordered them, and I paint on them. So
Nutty.
I started painting on a few bags. I met a few really awesome women through that, and I had met through coming back out and doing the trunk shows and meeting really cool women that were wanting, the work on the bags. I met a really cool friend, and Christine Resnick, and she introduced me to Richard, who is the owner of the gallery, the gallerist
Richard
that I work.
D'Amato.
Richard D'Amato.
RJD.
Yep, RJD Gallery. Yep. So when I had the opportunity to start working there at the gallery, I decided to move here.
Okay.
I love Sag Harbor. I think it's like a really smart town.
Sag Harbor is the most, well, East Hampton and Southampton are great and old money and traditional, but Sag Harbor's like the real deal. It's the old whaling town, the locals, the everything. Now there's so many people that the vibe is changing because it's become so touristy, but gosh, I wanted to live there so bad. I looked at 1 million houses there, but literally they were all these little old houses that had no closets, no basements, no storage space, and I was pregnant.
Oh.
So it was like 30 years ago.
Cool.
Couldn't find a house in Sag Harbor unless we wanted a new modern house. So, but I love Sag Harbor.
I gotta
it's
tell
the best
you,
town.
Yeah, I'm totally inspired by
it's the
Sag
best
Harbor. I'm totally inspired by the gallery. I feel like Sag Harbor is probably one of the smartest towns in the U.S. It really is, in my opinion, at least. Really great, eclectic group of people living there.
Beautiful scenery, just everything about it. And your gallery is right next door to the movie theater. That's iconic art theater.
I know. Well, the movie theater, after, when I first moved here earlier on, and I was promoting my work and work in landscape design and stuff like that, I would pass by that area and just like in awe of that building.
Yeah.
I never thought that I was going to end up going every day to work there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it really is cool the fact that I get to open the door, turn on the lights, and kind of bring in all that energy that has been there. And creating new energy out of the space too, of course.
Yeah. I think that it's such an interesting collection of work because they're modern artists, a lot of women, but some great men too. And the paintings to me always have a quality of like they're old masters. They're
Sure.
new, but they're already golden oldies. I mean, they have that depth of quality of like a Rembrandt or something because they're brilliant artists.
Well, there at the gallery, we are focusing on magical realism, which is really close to home for me because I was partially educated in South America and Colombia.
Okay.
And of course, with Gabriel
Are those your roots?
Yeah, those are my roots. My parents are from Colombia. I was born in New York, but I was partially educated. I went back and forth for schooling there. And we had to read Gabriel Garcia Marquez books.
I love
100
Days of Solitude. Oh, my God.
And the work of Botero. And, of course, they're much more influenced by the subconscious and the dream world, where here in the States it's much more of a mixture of photorealism and classical rendering, as you mentioned. You know, of course, we have leading artists and artists in that focus, such as Andrew Coach, who are really paving the way to making this almost household name, magical realism.
Yeah.
So it is very exciting, and it's almost like studying with the masters when I sit there at the desk. So for me, it's really a nice juxtapose from my very urban work that I do in my studio compared to when I go to work and I get to really study and analyze all these.
Every stroke and the highlights and the depth and all the things going on in those paintings there.
Truly.
Amazing.
We're going to start doing, I'm actually going to bring a bit of my production value to RJD Gallery.
Cool.
And we are going to start doing a bit of live streaming. We also are going to start making some videos to make that transition, especially for our collectors and enthusiasts that are here in the summer but don't get to connect as much with us in the winter. And they'll get to...
Well, there already is a website for RJD, right?
RJD Gallery does have a website. It's rjd.com, gallery.com. And, but this would be a more interactive way to keep up with what's going on, because our clientele is international. Our artists are national and international artists, our roster. So that's something that I'm really excited to do. And create really fun and videos to stay in contact with our enthusiasts and collectors.
So when you're at the gallery, you're Enrique Martinez.
No, actually, I'm Mago.
You are Mago.
Yeah.
So Enrique, where does one stop and the other begin, or
Good question.
Just?
I was using Enrique Martinez in my professional life and my production life, and in that way. And then in my artistic life, I was using Mago, because that's what I sign my work with.
Right.
It's kind of all blend into one, and it's okay. It really is, and it's part of also.
But when they come in, they don't call you Mago. They say, "Hey, Enrique," right?
No, it's Mago. My business card. I know you know me as Enrique.
Yeah. Because
you know me for a while, and I would say some of my closer friends probably called me Enrique, but at work and mostly it's Mago.
And you started a collector's book. Is your collector's book like a sampling? Is this it?
Well, this is what it is. It's almost like a diary for me, almost. It's going to be really interactive with my personal collectors that collect my work, where they can look through the bodies of work that I have and select up to 12 to 24 pieces, and they will be printed in high-quality museum print archival paper. And
I have to.
So
now, if a person saw a painting or an image in your book, and they thought it would look great in their apartment in this size, they could like say, could you paint me one of those in a larger size or different format or oil on can? I mean,
sure. I'm always open to commissioned paintings. I do have a body of work that I will be promoting soon, and I'm focusing on the books right now. And the books are these prints, but it's going to be like my diary. I'm actually going to handwrite through them, notes and kind of sketch through it.
That's very different for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you'll see my own handwriting, and I'm going to kind of jot ideas and poems that I've written, and really whatever comes to mind in the spirit of graffiti.
That looks almost like a child's face on that bunny. Good.
So that's the idea behind the book, and I'm going to create, I believe, about 12 of these pieces.
12 books or
12 books.
pieces? 12 books.
Yes.
Wow. So besides your books, what's making you tick right now?
I'm really excited to be back out east. As I mentioned, Sag Harbor being kind of a great base to be out of. I'm really looking forward to broadening the collector base at the gallery. Also, creating artwork out here is just phenomenal. I mean, the space, the time, the vibe out east is really, it really works for me. You know, so I'm looking forward to creating some new artwork and getting out there. I want to do some much more production work as well. I'd like to.
And when production work, what kind of projects are you thinking
I want
about?
to do some really cool events. You know, after the bug bit me at AM Studios in my company Creative Egg Project, it was something I didn't forget because it really was the meaning of the culture. You know. And I missed that. When we spoke before I did the show, I was telling you how much I missed your artist parties.
Oh my God, we had so much fun.
So much fun and such a great time to get together with other creative folks and enthusiasts and collectors, writers, and photographers, directors. And I really want to create that vibe because that's what I thrive from. And that's what my artwork is really about. You know, I like to be thrown into life and feel all the emotions, feel needed, feel wanted, create one-of-a-kind experiences where, you're just creating almost a circle of friends that are seeking that, creativity and that one-of-a-kind of experience. And that's really what I love to do. And even when I do my art openings or if I do an art opening for the gallery, I really try to give it my all. I want people to feel the enthusiasm and feel the passion that is behind art and living in such an artistic town and area as this is.
Well, as we were speaking on the phone last night, and we were talking about the artist dinners and how much fun they used to be at Saracen and then at Georgica, we danced like crazy.
Crazy.
A lot of people came. Conversation was always wild and great. And what I said to you, you were like, what happened? Why doesn't it really happen?
I know.
Anymore?
What
Aside
happened?
from the fact that we're all septuagenarians now, but we still love to dance. But I think really what happened is the drinking and driving. It's a big problem. You can't go out and, have 3 or 4 drinks and let your hair down and dance like crazy and have a great time and go sailing out the door and get in your car because there's a zillion more cars on the road.
This is true.
And the police, I guess, they have a quota they have to, it's like
Well, one thing that I noticed coming back out here is that there is a lot more police.
Yeah.
And I feel that it is intense. To find a way, I guess, to play safe and still have a great experience is what I want to come up with. I really want to think about what way can we all get together and have an amazing time.
Maybe pajama party. we were going to have our floors done. And you know I love to have parties.
I know you love
And
that.
now even the liability if you have a party if someone gets in.
Oh.
Nobody wants anybody to drive drunk.
I know.
And people, when they're drunk, they don't want to admit that they're drunk, and you try to take their keys from
Sure.
them, and they get arrogant. And it's a real problem, and nobody wants to be sued. And it's such a litigious time now. I mean, I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes last night, but they're like Google lawsuits where people can just Google restaurants or properties and see that they don't have the proper ingress or egress for disabled people, or that they don't have a seat for disabled people to get in their swimming pool at a motel. And it could be just you or me on Google looking at a property and seeing that they don't have the right stuff and suing them.
Wow.
Anybody can do it. And it's just like so crazy. Everything's so crazy now.
It's
But
wild.
what can we do? I mean, if you have a designated driver, say a group goes out, 4 people go out in a car, 1 person's the designated driver, 3 people can have a lot of fun, but the poor designated driver
Well, I was
has
thinking
to, like,
something along the line.
sit around and wait.
I was thinking something along the line. If I was to produce events, I would include that. So I would maybe
Have a little jitney to take people home.
well, maybe jitney or maybe car service or Ubers that would kind of pick people up, take them to a secret location, have a fabulous bash, and then move them on, or make them have an experience almost.
Yeah.
That would be something that I would be interested in doing, or even if it was an event at on a yacht, just still offering to pick, the patrons up from their home and bring them to the event, and then take them back would be one way. And then of course, that, like you said, there's a lot more people living in Sag Harbor and in these towns. They're kind of turning into, much more of a
make
city
the
vibe.
bus a party too.
Well, that's a
party
great
vibe.
idea.
Make the bus a party too, so it's fun the minute you get on the bus.
Yeah.
You have fun at the party.
Well, they do that in the city
I'm
often.
not suggesting people get drunk by any means.
Right.
But, it's nice to get a little buzz
Sure.
on and dance like crazy. But you can't worry about driving home because that's a sticky wicket.
I'm actually moving into the town because of that. I feel like I prefer to walk down to the restaurants. And really, the restaurants are open year-round now. I just was in Zen last night, and they were doing sake tasting.
Yeah.
For $28, you can sit there, try all the different sakes, and they bring different food out. And so I guess they are coming out with much more creative ways to
Get people together.
get people together.
So what is your website?
My website is magoart.nyc.
magoart.nyc.
That's right.
And, okay, so you're going to do all these projects. What advice would you give a young person that wants to be like you?
I would just, I grew up pretty humble in Queens, Jamaica, Queens. I just, you have to believe in your creativity. You have to really try to connect with other people that you see living the lifestyle that you want to live, or creating the work that you respect, and really ask them for 5 minutes of their time, or show them your portfolio. Edward Wickerson, who has also been a mentor to me, he said to me, if you're really serious to meet someone, you make sure you show up to where they're at, and you have your portfolio, you open it up, and you just show it to them and see if you can get yourself a meeting.
And show up on time.
And show up on time. Yeah, Richard would like that.
So RJD Gallery, what days of the week is it open, and what days of the week are you there?
Okay, so summer we're open 7 days a week.
7 days a week?
7 days a week. Winter.
Until what time?
Usually, well, I'm the late shift, so come see me till 9 o'clock in the summer. But now in the winter, we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
And usually from 10 to 3 on Sunday, and the other days 10 to 6.
Okay. So, Mago,
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you still going to be doing graffiti art?
That's a good question. I would love to travel a lot more.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I think that would add on
Inspiration.
to inspiration.
Yeah.
And maybe living somewhere else to just change up the entire.
Don't leave us yet.
No, I'm like about in a 3-5 year plan out here. I'll be out
Okay.
here probably. I really do see myself establishing myself here at the East End and creating more artwork and working with RJD Gallery and creating events. Also,
well, I'll help you create events.
That sounds great.
We love to do our artist dinner. Everyone's welcome at the artist dinners, folks.
Where are you doing the artist dinner now?
Olstow Pub. Olstow. It's a $25 price fix, $5 wine, and lamb chop steak. Any Greek specialties, fish, pasta.
See, I love that.
Yeah, it's really great. And everybody sits together. Oh, separate checks for everyone. That's the sticky wicket for all of the restaurants. Separate checks for everyone. On that note, folks, I think we have to end our wonderful interview with Margot.
Well, cheers.
MargotArtNYC.com.
.nyc.
.nyc.
Yeah, no .com.
No, MargotArt.nyc. Thank you for coming.
Anytime.
And thank you for watching. Remember, ladies, give yourself lots of room. Room for love, room for fun, room to grow, and room to glow. Hope to see you next week. Thank you. Good.
Breathe in. Now I took what I want, but you find